All right. Hello, Kris.
Hi.
I'm so glad to be back with you for Behind the Mic.
It's exciting. It's going to be a fun day.
Yes, I am really excited about this one with Denise Soler Cox. She is incredible, and I'd love for you to share a little bit more about her before we get started.
Sure. Yeah, I've learned a lot about Denise in the past few years. We've been on a journey together, and it's been incredible. Denise, how do I tee this up? Denise is a person with a very big heart, and she, being a first gen Latino, um, kind of carried around a feeling of not belonging, I think, for the early part of her life, and was compelled, this is the part that's fascinating, to make a film, which basically a love story to her community. What's fascinating about it is that decision to follow her heart and put that out into the world came back to her in the most amazing way. Truly fascinating story, and we're going to get into that in a minute. I'm going to
Yeah, what I
let
love
you
about
formally introduce her, and then we'll have some
yeah,
fun color to mix here.
absolutely. You said it so well. What I would add to that is just Denise Soler Cox. She's a vibrant advocate for cultural belonging and storytelling. And she draws from her first generation experiences, like you're saying, and where she grew up in the suburbs of New York City, which I love. And now she is this professional and renowned speaker, filmmaker, author, and she really listens. She's so genuine, and she has become a trusted confidant and champion of empowerment, which is just so exciting. All right.
I was up dancing.
Yes.
Woo!
Welcome,
Oh,
Denise.
girl.
Thank you so much. I'm so
Gets
happy
me going every time.
too.
We should tell people that a longer version of that intro plays when Denise speaks, and she literally dances out on stage, which is my favorite thing.
The best is when other people dance too. Like there will be people
That's true.
that dance, and it's the best when that happens.
I'm telling you, the invitation to dance with some good music. I mean, who turns that down?
Exactly.
Well, let me start. Our conversation just from where I left off in the beginning. You put your film, Being Enye, out into the world, which, I mean, I'm just saying that so briefly seems so wrong because I know what it took to get you to that point. A lot of years and a lot of, well, hard work and all kinds of things. But what's fascinating after that is how people all over the world responded with that to the message of "You're not alone," which their response being, "This is our story too." So it wasn't, even though it was maybe meant for your Latino community, anybody who was, well, you explain it better than I do. Who would you say? Like the intersections, the people who feel marginalized. You explain a little better than I do.
Yeah, I mean, I made it for people who were first gen like me, who struggled with their identity and where they belonged. And I had no idea that, and I worked so hard and sacrificed so much and just was so focused on getting it done that I had no idea or vision for what would happen after it came out. I know that sounds very strange, but I just didn't think about that because it was such a feat. You know, it was like a professional climbing Mount Everest for me. And so when it exploded all over the world and still is, I mean, 8 years later, it is still a shock to me, but also a confirmation that it is a story about a small community, first gen Latinos who don't feel like they belong. But it really is a story of human beings and people with heartbeats who feel who've ever felt like they didn't belong. And so that includes all intersectional identities, all marginalized identities. And like I said, anyone that ever felt like they didn't belong, which is, as it turns out, pretty much everyone.
Pretty much everyone. Yeah, because it's a universal human need. We talk about that. And, you know, I feel like, well, let's just say that I think the whole belonging, I was with you in the room when you used that word the first time, starting your keynote career. And I heard it and I was just like, no one's talking about that. I haven't heard that. It reminded me of Brene Brown in the beginning when you first heard about shame, and you're like, what? In corporate America? How great is that? But it certainly kickstarted your speaking career that you didn't ever plan on. And the journey continues. So after speaking for years and about how to create belonging for ourselves and for others, your message has started to evolve. And I know that has happened because of audience response, just like it happened with the film, that people watching it, people writing you, and you're like, this is about belonging. So can you talk a little bit about that evolution and where it's headed now?
Yeah. So I've had the privilege and honor to be invited to speak at all sorts of places and spaces from like middle school auditoriums and when I first got started to Fortune 500 companies. I'm actually part of a curriculum in a university in England and a part of a few different books, as a citation, my work. And so I've been interviewed in those spaces. And so people have been very generous to share with me what I would consider very personal things that I would never expect to be, things I would never expect. We'll put it that way. And so after any given event, when I get off the stage, I'm not the type of person that has to go catch a flight. I actually plan to stay because I love connecting with the people. I am all about belonging and human connection. So I'm not going anywhere. And part of what's amazing for me is to hear from people what struck them out of what I said, what resonated with them. And tucked inside those conversations is always a secret. People choose to share very personal secrets with me. And this has been happening now for 8 years, and it happens every single time. And for a long time, I didn't know why that was the case. And it gets me emotional because it's an emotional topic, right? Why would people want to keep their secrets? And so at first it was just very confusing. And then I began to realize that, and I'm not sure audience members, if you're like this, but I'm one of those people that is all about signs. And I really try to respond when something happens over and over and over again. And so for me, at about the 40th time, I thought, okay, I think I'm being invited to do something about this. And because what I'm hearing mostly from women is that they're feeling disconnected from their own belonging, and they're using secrets and some story around their own brokenness, some belief that they're not good enough as a reason why they can't belong in the places and spaces that they want to be. So in the jobs, in the businesses they want to start, in the books they want to write, or the films they want to create. So it's a hindrance. And what I saw was this connection, and I wanted people to know that there's a way to release those secrets and kind of be liberated, if only by knowing they're not alone, which is incredibly powerful. And then in my book, they'll learn very methodically how to release those secrets and those hindrances, those challenges that are holding them back in their life from belonging where they want to be. Because I'm all about everyone feeling like they belong wherever their heart desires.
That is
you just dropped a little bomb book in my book. Tell us about that.
Oh, right. Yes. So I recently signed a book deal with Simon & Schuster to write about this concept, to write about the connection between the secrets that we keep and the places and spaces we feel like we're not able to experience belonging. And so I'm on that journey right now, and the book will be coming out in 2026. And I'm beginning to incorporate some of those ideas into my keynote, because it's really, at this point, it's a difficult topic for me personally, because I want to make sure to honor what's happening with people. Yeah. And so for that reason, it's, you can just see this is how it is, everybody. Hello, I'm on a stage. I'm probably going to shut it, just so you know. And so I really want to honor that reality. And every time I do bring it up from the stage, the lines just get longer. And what I found is that people are ready to talk about this. They're ready to address it, and they're ready to get past it. And they need someone to let them know it's okay. They need someone to let them know this is my experience too. And we can kind of get somewhere new together.
Yeah. Well, we're going to dive into a little bit of some of the reasons I think why people are ready for this. What's that about? Where'd that come from? When did this start? But it really is true. And then I'm going to shut up and let Channing ask a couple questions. But it really is true that you kind of create, I don't think I'm overstating this, kind of a sacred space in that ballroom with those people. And it's because you're not afraid to go there with a very, very important subject. And people see your authenticity and they respond. And once some of those barriers drop, I have a feeling when they're talking to you, they probably don't come up and talk to you and know they're going to even share a secret. It just happens. So anyway.
I would love to know, even going back, because it is such a powerful message that has led you even to this next chapter you're bridging into. What do you think drove the awakening to the importance of belonging for you?
Well, so here's, like I said, when I first started sharing, I made this movie for first-gen Latinos in the United States. And some people, that I'm a big thinker now, but back then that's as big as I could really handle, right? 16 million people. And so that's the amount of people that were living the experience that I wanted to address in the film. And what I found was so many people were saying the same thing, which was, I thought I was alone. And it's one thing for my community, the first-gen Latino community, or just all of us all together, Latinos in general. I thought I was alone. This I knew. But when the film started reaching people outside the community, and people outside the community were saying the exact same thing, I realized this is much bigger than I ever anticipated. And that the opposite to me of I thought I was alone was, I need to figure out a way to make the next chapter of my life be about teaching people how to belong themselves in the places and spaces they want to be in, and teaching others who want to create that for their teams or their communities and their relationships, etc.
Right.
Yeah, it seems like the continuation of belonging, and I've gotten to see it just completely explode, what you are bringing to stages. And it seems like there is now, there's no question, there's this loneliness epidemic from post-pandemic, everything going on. And it seems to me like this is the perfect message for people to be hearing right now, a continuation of what belonging means. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. And so last year, the Surgeon General in May released a press release saying that we're in a loneliness epidemic, and this is like a serious thing. And so, it kind of begs the question, it's how is there a specific thing that makes someone feel lonely? No, there are lots of different things that make people feel lonely. And is there a specific age group where people are more lonely than other ages? Yes. And if you tally up the numbers, it's actually 60% of the workforce right now that could be included in that number. And so this is a very important business issue as well as a personal and relationship issue.
Right. I noticed, because you and I had been working together early on, and the whole George Floyd moment happened. And I feel like why that's connected, I don't know. But I mean, I think a lot of things happened in that moment. Who knows why it was that one? It was certainly horrific. But maybe it's because we were just done. I don't know. But I feel like this whole idea of belonging just got shot out of a cannon or something. And I mean, did you feel that too?
Absolutely.
Did you connect those things?
Yes, absolutely I did. And I'll never forget the day that we sat down and you said, so what do you want to talk about? What's your, and I said belonging. And I felt incredible.
I fell off my chair.
And you hesitated and you're like, I love it. And it was so great. I really needed someone to tell me that they loved it, because I had this huge breadth, years and hundreds of conversations with people. So I had complete certainty that this was going to be the next biggest issue. And I kind of have a joke, but not really. I think it's going to be the word of the decade. I think it's going to be the theme of the decade is addressing belonging and caring about belonging and talking about all things related, because there's no single thing more important than addressing this loneliness epidemic, because it reaches so many people of so many different ages, and because there's so many different reasons for it occurring. And so maintaining human connection and or creating belonging anywhere we can do it is the prescription. And the good news is that it's easy. We just have to be thoughtful. And that's what I care about teaching people. And I think that's what happens when I get on a stage, when people have a respite from life. It's like, okay, 40 minutes, I'm just going to focus on belonging and being real and being authentic and really kind of examining how I feel about this. Perhaps that's the reason why people get so emotional afterwards, in a good way, because they're connecting with their own humanity, which is what we need more of.
Right. I feel like everybody's talking about belonging. It's so needed, and it's the human thing that's really the most important. And AI. It's like this juxtaposition.
What a weird
two topics.
That is so weird.
I know. It's just a fascinating thing that's kind of where we're at. But okay, I'm going to say this briefly and then let Channing move to the next question, because we already covered it a little bit. But I want listeners to realize, particularly buyers of speakers, when Denise is done talking, we're not kidding. Like, people don't just find her in the hallway afterwards. They line up, and I've not seen that before that I can remember in over 30 years of doing this. So it's important to know that it will happen, and if possible to plan for it. It's powerful, and it's responsible, because people have, their emotions have bubbled up, and they need that conversation, I believe. And it's where the good stuff happens. So we try to do a Q&A after she speaks, which takes care of a lot of it, but still there's that personal moment and wanting to, and she's gracious enough to love doing that. So that's just an important note. I think we leave it there for now. And Channing, you go ahead.
I commend you. And I think that has a lot to do. It's no surprise to me what you are now going to talk about in your book, The Secrets You Keep, because I experienced it myself when I was an audience member of your keynote. There's just, like Kris is saying, there's so much that comes up that you need to share with Denise, and you run up there. I'm like, I don't run up there. I do. I've done it myself. And so I've seen the impact your keynote has, and also what happens when that belonging theme starts to extend throughout the entire event. Can you talk about that? Have you seen that happen?
Yeah, so I've seen it. So I feel like I say I know like enough to be dangerous, you know. So like I've been doing this now for 8 years, and then I read all the books, know the research, and but I had all this qualitative experience beforehand, and the research kind of backed up what I'd found. And so when I walk into an event, I can tell that fast if it's an environment, if they're thoughtful about wanting to make people feel like they belong. It's that fast for me. Before I was like, oh, I don't know if I fit in here. I don't know if this is my place. But now I can kind of see what's missing and also what's there. And so only in the places where I see it, I will end my keynote with an acknowledgement of those things, because I want people to know, I want the organizers to know, hey, you are doing this right and rock on. Great job. And I also want the attendees to know they're swimming in this environment, feeling good. And I want them to know why, because the whole point of me being there is so that they can learn something and take it back, right? And otherwise, it's just like a moment we had and that's it. That's not why I do this. I do this because I want to transfer this information and get people to transform their lives and at work, wherever, you know?
Right.
So,
and we notice this so much, Channing and everyone else, that we're starting now to talk to clients up front in the booking stage and certainly after, about how to literally take this theme and dump the belonging bucket over the whole event. So we give them ideas. Denise is great at this, very specific to who they are, to their culture, to the event itself. And it's really, really powerful and super fun. That way it's more likely that they're going to take it home afterwards because they've experienced how simple it is.
Yeah,
This isn't rocket science.
It's so simple. But Kris, I was just thinking, remember that event that we had where the client didn't want to have their, it was going to be virtual. It was virtual. And they didn't want to have their, the attendees be able to message simultaneously on the chat for whatever reason. They thought it might be distracting to me. I'm not even sure. And I suggested in the moment, actually, it's a better idea to let them, right? And that chat blew up, and those people felt great. And all I could see is the thing blowing up. I can't read anything because I'm too far away from it. But if we're going to do a belonging event, people have to feel valued, whether it's virtual or in person. So allowing them to share and to ask the questions they're going to ask and to share whatever they need to share is super important. So yeah, that's how it kind of came to life in a very small example with the client.
And your ultimate simplest example is she has people experience the power of the statement, "Hi, so-and-so, I'm Kris. I'm so happy you're here." And that's like scientifically proven what that does to a person. It's just crazy. So anyway, we have lots of other examples and we give them specifically to those clients. But that's just a fun mention that this is bigger than a keynote. And whenever possible, it certainly should be.
Yes.
I also know, I was going to say, well, now this leads me to another thing. I also know that you love to work, excuse me, more deeply with clients. And you have done that, seen the transformation for those that are willing to go really deeper. So that meaning we want to create a belonging culture within our organization. And so much so that we want to see that extend to our customers. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I know you've had some experience.
And I would call that like 500 level belonging conversation, because this isn't walking through the door of belonging. This is like getting in the kitchen and cooking a meal with a client. And we're doing that right now. We're about to do a really awesome workshop for a very big company, international company. And from the minute we got on the phone with them, we could tell they cared about this, right? And so there was the keynote, and now we're going to get our hands dirty and really get into how do we apply these things. And so to me, it's the most exciting to help clients implement within their culture, with their specific challenges, with their people and their personalities. It's exciting, it's exciting to be able to do that for people.
We all kind of know some of the big brands that have gotten this right, or certainly are working on it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, these are brave brands that decide this is important enough to eat, sleep, breathe, talk about it every day.
Right.
All the time, because that's what it takes.
From a humanitarian point of view, it's so good and inspiring. From a business point of view, you can't make a better business decision than, especially for companies more than 10,000 employees. There's all the research is out there. Harvard Business Review. The stats are, I believe, over 50%. Profits increase significantly, especially for companies with 10,000 employees or more. So provide that research for people. It's smart for business, but it's also, being a good person too.
I think too, people, as a business owner myself, there's always been no question, and I've been able to do this more hands-on with a smaller team, but just caring deeply about my team members, that is intentional, that's genuine, but it also changes the game for what is possible for our company, I think. And I think that's now people are really, on a much larger scale than myself, understanding the value of putting their people first and in this safe culture setting that you're helping them create. And I personally love working with you because you are so versatile. Just like you were saying, I love working with a keynote speaker who they're like, put me in, coach. Like, do we do workshops? Do we do different keynotes? What should the message be? And you've always been so incredible with that. So my last question for you with that in mind is, do you know what's next on the destination of the Denise Soler Cox journey? Like, what's next for you? And I know you've talked about the book, but anything else you want to share too?
Yeah, well, you can see that my name is, on the Chiron, or underneath it says that I'm the founder of High Quality Human. It's a brand that I've been working on for a long time. And to me, High Quality Human it's a lifestyle brand that I'm going to be launching over the next few months. And it embodies all the things I talk about when it comes to belonging. And at its most aspirational, a high quality human is someone that cares deeply about people belonging. And so all the work that I'll be doing from now on will be underneath that umbrella. And so stay tuned. It's very exciting for me.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear more. That's so exciting.
I'm
Well,
pretty sure you told me, one more thing. I'm pretty sure you told me not to bring this up.
I probably did, but as long as we're here.
I do anyway. So we were talking about, I was just sitting here thinking, was I supposed to? This idea of belonging moments and of you,
right.
One of the things I think that you're going to do going forward that I'm really looking forward to is sharing what those look like and giving people lots and lots of examples and hoping that they join in and share their examples as well. Once we all get it, it's like, I got a good one, and I just think it's going to be really, really fun and exciting. And hopefully, I don't know, I would just love to see that be a big movement.
Yes. So as long as you're a belonging moment is a moment that anyone can create at any time. And the intent has to be around creating really substantive human connection. And honestly, the more fun, the better. So if you follow me here on LinkedIn, I posted something about a video where these people were walking into this convenience store to get gas. And there was a very simple sign that said, if you dance, we'll give you $5 off. And if you make it really good, we'll give you 10. And the dances, the people came in, they were having a blast. And that right there is a belonging moment. It didn't cost,
it sure is.
$5 or $10, but now who doesn't want to go get gas at that convenience store? And so from a practical point of view, thinking about people that are planning events, how can you create belonging moments, or how can you string together belonging moments every day, every hour, or whatever works best for you? This is the work that I'm the most excited about, and really the most excited to get in there and work with the clients on as well. That's separate also from the stage. But if you're, sometimes people listen to me and they're just like, yeah, but how, right? This is the how. Create a belonging moment, which means an authentic between another human being. And these moments, the more fun, the better, and best captured on video to share on social media later so other people can enjoy them too. But I will tell you this, if a person goes to an event and they experience just one of those moments, you tell me what the likelihood is of them coming back the next year.
Mm-hmm. I can already see, Denise, I love this so much. And I can already see this opportunity for you to help create those behind the scenes for an event. And then you come and keynote and you talk about these belonging moments and how intentional it was. I think that is
I
so
think the keynote's going to get really fun is what I think is going to happen.
Awesome.
This is going to be an exciting next part of the journey. Yes. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. This has been great.
We love having you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And we will go ahead and wrap up. So bye, Denise. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
You too. Awesome.
So we've got to announce our next one.
Yes.
Our next Behind the Mic is September 19th, just about a month from now, with Kris Campbell, who I happen to adore. She's a speaker, a wilderness guide, an environmentalist, a poet, an amazing poet, and get this last one, and a dog musher.
What can she do?
Also, I know, that's all wrapped up into one woman, one amazing woman, and a 2024 Smart Speaker Award winner. That's Smart Meetings Magazine does those that list every year, and it just came out. Both, by the way, Kris and Denise were Smart Meeting Award winners this year. Kris's commitment to sustainability runs deep. She's training and volunteering to help reduce our collective carbon footprint. As a professional speaker, though, she decided it was time to be more hands-on in helping create more earth-centered, sustainably focused approach to the meetings and events industry. No small task.
Yeah.
So Sustainably Speaking was born with a skin in the game approach to supporting organizations to make more intentional, sustainably focused decisions around the events that they host and produce. Why I'm so personally impressed with Kris, just like Denise, she's the real deal, as authentic as they make them.
Mm-hmm.
Her commitment runs deep. And the example I would probably give is that you can see on her website under Sustainably Speaking, there's a sustainability checklist for organizations that want to hire her. And the organizations that get serious enough to take action on some of those things on the checklist actually earn a discount towards her speaking fee.
Which
That's her way of saying, I know this is going to take some sacrifice or cost some money, and I want to be part of that.
Yeah, and put your money where your mouth is, you know,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
takes it seriously, which is
She's
so cool. I haven't seen anyone like that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is another one of the big topics out there. It's super important. What I like about the fact that Kris isn't coming from the, scientific side of things. She's coming from a heart. We want a better earth, but also really practical ways of dealing with this. So we're looking forward to that.
Can't wait. September 19th, right? It's going to be awesome. All right. Well, Kris, as always, so fun to do these with you. And I'm excited for the next one.
Me too.
All right.
Thanks, Channing.
Bye.
Bye. Bye for now.